the Northwest Territories. We are grateful to be allowed the opportunity to learn, work, and live on Treaty 11 lands within the Gwich'in settlement area and the lands of the Inuvik Final Agreement. We respect the generous sharing of traditional wisdom and knowledge. We commit to honoring paths towards self-determination. I'm going to pass over the mic to Eric Bowling, who is our moderator for this evening. He will walk us through. If you do have questions, he will either direct you to the podium or provide you the mic. It is a quick time frame that we have just to allow your questions for the public, and we will get started. So thank you, candidates, for attending.
Hello, everybody. As been introduced, my name is Eric Bowling. Inuvik Drum Reporter. Couple quick housekeeping items. If you need to use the washroom and you've been here before, it's just around back at the wall there around the corner. And if we have to evacuate, please kindly make your way out the door to that corner there in an orderly fashion. We're going to run through the introductions of the candidates. My understanding is Mario Lemieux is away on travel, so Arlene is going to read out his candidate introduction, and then we're going to move into the mayor's. So I'm going to pass over to Arlene.
So Mario was away on medical travel, and he gave me something that he'd like me to read. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending tonight's forum. Regrettably, I am unable to attend in person tonight due to a scheduling conflict with previously booked medical in Edmonton. As a quick introduction to those who do not already know me, I've been in Inuvik for most of my life. I am the owner of Rocky's Plumbing and Heating and R&M Propane that I purchased from my father and now in the process of proudly handing down to my sons. I am a husband, father, and a grandfather. Now I am retired and ready to focus my energies on continuing to make Inuvik the stand-up community I know it to be. We are at a pivotal moment in our town, facing challenges that demand attention and opportunities that dictate we act. As a business owner and a homeowner, I am very aware of the escalating costs of living in our community. We must be more engaged in open dialogue on how we will immediately address the social and economic issues which are drastically impacting our community. The lack of a robust economy contributes to homelessness, strife, and erosion of community participation. It's not that we lost our spirit, but our ability to demand better. I have the time, energy, and commitment to devote to this council. I invite you to engage with me, challenge the status quo, and start and hold some conversations. Thank you for your support. Let's get started.
Thank you, Arlene. So now we're going to run through the mayor candidates, let them both give their spiel, and we're going to go through the council candidates by alphabetical order, and then it'll be your turn to grill. Mr. Peter Clarkson, please repeat us all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome here tonight. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for tuning in online. My past life in Inuvik, in several leadership roles, there's been one thing that's been consistent, and that's my leadership style of bringing people together, collaboration, bringing people to the table and working on issues so there's no winners and losers, solving problems so that everybody can walk away from the table. And to continue with that, if elected, one of the things I'd like to do is set up a leadership council in Inuvik, which would involve the Gwich'in, the Inuvik, the Métis, the Inuvik Native Band, the 2 MLAs, and of course, the town. And by doing that, we can share information, look at priorities, common priorities, and hopefully work on common projects to get a lot more done in the communities. And establish relationships with all levels of government and with all the Indigenous groups that are in our community and create strong partnerships so that when we need each other and when we need to work on things together, that partnership is already there. And part of that, we'll be looking at some of the community infrastructure that we have, the facilities that we have, and what we need to do to make sure these facilities stay open for our youth to enjoy and stay open for our adults to lead healthy lifestyles and to get out and to use those facilities that they were designed for. We have incredible facilities in this community for a town our size, and we need to make sure those doors are open so that people can use those facilities. Like any other town in the Arctic, we do have social issues, and it's often not part of the mandate of the town, but we will work on those, work on the cost of living and also economic development. We need more jobs. We need to have more development. I'm done. Thanks.
And next, we would have Mr. Mayor Clarence Wood.
Thank you, Eric. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see a good turnout, and I think there's going to be even more people. Anyway, thank you for being here tonight. It's always an honor to address the residents of Inuvik. The community is full of potential, resilience, and innovation. As we look towards the future, I believe the focus must be on creating a sustainable and prosperous Inuvik for everyone. This means continuing to expand and develop vital infrastructure like the satellite station, the new air terminal, and housing developments, as well as numerous ongoing projects around town. These projects will not only create jobs, but will position Inuvik as a hub for remote sensing, research, and northern excellence. We also need to invest in what matters most to you: affordable housing, healthcare, and opportunities for our youth. With new housing starts, energy efficient projects like the solar farm, and the expansion of the airport runway, we are laying the foundation for growth. But we must ensure this growth benefits everyone in our community. I will continue to lobby for an expanded military presence. I'm committed to listening to your concerns, as I always have over the past 26 years, and working with all levels of government, Indigenous partners, and local organizations to make Inuvik a place where everyone thrives. Together, we can build on our strengths and address our challenges. Let's make Inuvik a community where the future is bright for all. Thank you, and I wish all the candidates the best of luck.
And next, we will hear from Whitney Alexis.
Good evening, everyone. I am pleased to participate in this forum today. So for people who don't know me, my name is Whitney Alexis. My parents are originally from Haiti, but I'm born and raised in Montreal. For Inuvik, I have a bold vision for a prosperous and robust community. I am deeply committed to continue contributing to the community's well-being and growth for today and the future. In addition, I am strongly interested in municipal affairs. I strive to continue empowering the town of Inuvik for the best interest and benefit of all residents. With my aspiration for our community, I decided to seek another term to be elected as a town councillor. Active listening is my strength. I want to continue to listen to all residents, understand their concerns, and raise them at the council chamber to find workable and sustainable solutions. To this role, my legal, political, international affair background and work experience will bring a different skill and expertise to the town council. Essentially, I'm skilled in analyzing legislation, regulation policy, which could be valuable in updating the town of Inuvik bylaws to subcommittees. With my skill set, I can also analyze and make sound decisions for the community. Since 2019, I have worked as a regional Gwich'in government advisor at the GTC. In addition to my first time on council, I volunteer as a secretary and treasury board member at the Inuvik Justice Committee. I can affirm that I truly understand the community dynamics and challenges. My professional expertise, my work experience, and participation in community events has equipped me with knowledge and relationship necessary to advocate effectively for our town with respect, integrity, and hard work. Your trust is important to me. I'm looking forward to open discussion on various subject matter within the municipal framework. Thank you.
And next, we will hear from Richard Campbell.
Hi, my name's Brett Campbell. I'm basically from the town of Inuvik here. My parents moved in 1963 here, and myself and my brother and our families have stayed here. I worked for many years with my parents' companies in construction, and for the last 25 years, I worked for the town of Inuvik, first as a public works technician, and then for the last 15 years as the director of public services. I'm fairly, I know what we have for infrastructure. I know we have great things. I know there's, some things that need a little more care and attention than others. There's, things like paved roads that have been now paved for about 17, 18 years and are in need of some work. There's supposed to be an opportunity to have a paving company here in a couple of years. We want to make sure that we're ready to take advantage of that to improve our roads. Our utilidor system, the oldest sections of the utilidor are still in use, and we need to get them replaced and up to the standard of the new utilidor system so that our systems will work well and we have the infrastructure to keep the town going to where it needs to go. I'm not a very strong background in social aspects. I will learn what I need to learn to do the job and try and do the job. I guess what I'm trying to say is I will be more involved with the infrastructure and roads and stuff like that and making sure that all that stuff is trying to keep it to its best, the best it can be. As for recreation,
Sorry, sir, but your time's up.
boy, that went quick.
Next, we'll hear from Ned Day.
Thank you, and really, thank you all for coming out tonight, and I can see a lot of interest in this, and really, I am very interested in continuing being a town councillor. I enjoy hearing different concerns from other members of our community and representing them at a council level. With your support, I'll continue to support our voice your concern. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Tony Hill.
Hello, my name is Tony Devlin, and my family and I have lived in Inuvik now for 18 years. I'm running for my second term on town council. During the last term of council, we made some progress on addressing our housing crisis in our community by approving and selling 65 lots. We saw the opening of the new visitor center. We brought the first outside commercial investment in over a decade with Little Ava's. We oversaw a complete overhaul of senior management and administration. And through all this, we brought the community out of the COVID lockdowns. So it's quite the term, learning. Overall, I believe in collaboration and working as a whole towards a common goal. The community plan may help align some of these overall goals, but it'll really be through cooperative, on-the-ground relationships and real meaningful consultation with our local Indigenous groups. That's where we'll see the efficiencies and a reduction in potential redundancies. I recently had an opportunity to design an anti-suicide logo and hoodie for the Inuvik and Gwich'in that incorporated both corporate logos. And the social media lit up with comments about how nice it was to see both organizations working together on a micro level towards our region's youth mental health challenges. But we know that true collaboration at the macro level is what our population wants and deserves. And for this, I'm in support of the Leadership Council that works hand in hand with Town Council. We also need to facilitate an environment to create conditions for investment through our economic development team. Similar to a success in proactively bringing Little Ava's here to the MSC, we need to assess our community needs and aggressively court outside commercial dollars to the community. How will they know that we have needs, that we can support a regional base of 10,000 people and have a strong, consistent wage structure as a government hub if nobody tells them? Inuvik is a multicultural hub that brings out the best in us and offers a wonderfully inclusive community to raise a family in. I am proud to call Inuvik home and would be humbled to be able to represent our collective interest on town council again. Merci, Kwananui, merci, thank you.
And next we will hear from Kendall McDonald.
Yeah, good evening. For those who don't know me, my name is Kendall McDonald. I'm a local entrepreneur. I'm co-owner of the Columbus Lectures. Longtime resident, I'd say lifetime, but I did go to school in Edmonton. My father's from Slavic, so there's a long history, which is probably why I have such a love for this town and feel I need to give back at this point. By definition, I think a counselor is somebody who has to bring a better quality of life to the residents, and that's what I'm going to try to do. My family resides here, my children, all my friends. I think they deserve a voice, and I think I can help with that. How? I mean, I think making educated and informed decisions is truly the answer. I mean, most of the decisions we make may not be highly impactful, but there are going to be some that are going to have some long-term effects, and I am invested. So this is what I want to do. I mean, we have different key issues, and I think for the public, one of the biggest ones is this community complex. We've had issues, obvious issues for a long time, and I don't think we've had the communication given to us, or we haven't had any reason. This is a problem for me. I think a problem for a lot of the residents. I don't have the answers. I don't claim to solve this right away, but I think this needs to be communicated more. I think there's accountability of the town that needs to be there more. I think the staff, I think our mayor and the SOA need to keep that on track. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say now. Thank you.
And next we will hear from Alana Nero.
Thank you. I'm Alana Miro. Inuvik's been my home for the last 26 years, and I'm seeking a 6th term on town council. I really believe in what a town council can do. Basically, we have a mandate. Our mandate is very much about the actual town itself, the infrastructure, the dogs, the ditches, the utilidors, the pool, I'll say the word pool, all those things that make us a town. But it's also the partnerships we build, the partnerships with all the Indigenous groups, with all the members of the communities, with our very, very broad ethnic background to build a stronger community. We also build partnerships with the levels of government, both GNWT and federal, for the services that they provide that we can bring into our community to help deal with the social issues. We're not directly responsible for the social issues, but we can play a very strong role in advocating and making sure those things happen and have the opportunity to provide services for people. We have a need to grow our economic base. We have stalled for many years. We need to bring ourselves out of that. The recent spike in investment by the Gwich'in and Inuvialuit is incredible, wonderful to see. They've done a great job in accessing federal money, and we need to build upon that. We need to support them, but also go out and look for other opportunities. So whether that's through our satellite receiving station, through our research institute, which has tremendous potential, through the military possibly coming back, whatever that means, we need to build on it and look at it in many different areas from as many angles as we can and be as inclusive as we can. We are a strong community. We will remain a strong community, and I really hope to be able to represent you again. Thank you.
Next we'll hear from Jen Parrott.
Good evening, everyone. First, I just want to start by saying thank you so much for being here, either online or in person, and for fully participating in the democratic process. My name is Jen Parrott, and I'm a long-term and proud resident of the community of Inuvik. I believe in stepping up for positive change, and that's why I'm here. I have previous experience within the town as the chair of the Inuvik District Education Authority, vice chair of the Education Council associated with BDEC, as well as a member with the Great Northern Arts Society. I actively support youth programming in town. It's a great passion of mine. A few examples of those are running our regional science fair, supporting mentorship opportunities in town, and also running a science club. I love to participate in recreation programming throughout town and attend events with my toddler. I'm the Director of Innovation at Inuvik Science and Climate Change for the Inuvik Regional Corporation. It's a really neat job where I get the opportunity to provide advice and guidance on so many key areas around strategic planning, Inuvik science, research, and in particular, the environment, key areas like climate change and energy. So I have the expertise, skills, and background to be able to apply all of this knowledge if I'm selected to represent you on town council. I'm running because over the last decade, I've continued to hear, and even more recently, that people aren't feeling well. There's not that social cohesion, people coming together like how it used to be. Mental health is an ongoing concern. And I want to be able to step up so that we can make more holistic decisions around the mental health and well-being of all residents. I want to make sure that everyone feels included, and that includes the little things like ensuring that individuals can independently access our facilities and our services. I want to take that community wellness approach to make sure that we're improving our infrastructure and we're expanding our programming by reducing some financial barriers. I really want to make sure that we're moving forward in our partnerships, specifically with our land claim organizations, community groups, and others. If given the chance, I'd love to represent you on town council. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mayor Sullivan.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Amir Sulaiman. I live in this town for 30 years now. Always work with the town councilor from the outside in different other projects or events in the town. My concern is we gotta work as a social programs for in the town for recreations, different events to put the community together. Because the problem is we have in town right now, town of Inuvik, they don't have the mandate to fix it. The governments, federal governments, but we, through the social programs, social events, to get together, that's is the way to go. And I believe in that, that's why I put my name in to participate. It was a social program and the recreation director, and to create different other activities for the technology of now. We have a lot of use in town, and if we really bring them together in different other events and programs, we'll move forward. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll hear from Marty Vermeulen.
Good evening, thank you for coming out and online. My name is Marty Vermeulen. I pretty much know everybody here. I come to work for the summer in 1986, make a couple bucks. I'm still here, trying to make a couple bucks. I've got to know the town really well, and I've noticed in this last while, the infrastructure is starting to fail. The bridges are falling, the signs are laying down, and it can be fixed. And I think a large part of it would be to somehow intertwine the homeless. Like, I really like the idea of Olympic works coming back. Getting these guys off the street to paint a sign, or to fix a sidewalk. It doesn't have to be slave labor, but it would give them some incentive, some self-worth. And I think if we work all together, we can make this happen and clean up the town a little bit, make it pleasant to drive in and see smiling faces and a nice clean infrastructure. Hopefully, we'll have enough votes to work with town council and the different native groups to make this happen. Thank you very much.
And next, we'll hear from Kurt Wayman.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name's Kurt Wayman, the owner of Northwood Industries in Inuvik. Was born and raised here. I've been in business for 36 years. Of the 36 years, I've been a councilor for 15 years. Looking for re-election because I want to improve on our infrastructures, our housing, several things. I've learned in the last 15 years of being a counselor, there's nothing you can't accomplish as a successful team. And you learn every day on this team. And I think moving forward, we're growing, we need houses. Our infrastructure such as this arena needs major upgrades. Our roads, our weather's changing, there's several things we can do together. But I'm looking for re-election and I like what I'm doing on town council, and thank you very much.
And lastly, Arnold Wilco.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arno Wilcom. I've been coming up here since the 1980s, and in 2013, I moved up here permanently with my family. I decided to run for town council because I care very much about Inuvik and the quality of life here for the residents and the people who come here. I've been doing construction for over 25 years, and I've worked on many buildings and projects in town. I could help the town council navigate new proposals and projects coming to Inuvik and also give advice being done on aging buildings and infrastructure. Priorities for me are opening the rec center and providing clear information to citizens about why it's not open or what's happening with it. And ensuring the town provides consistent programming to increase the overall well-being for the residents and to attract new residents to town. I feel the town needs to be fiscally responsible. We need to figure out new revenue streams so people can afford to live here. Ultimately, I can bring a new and fresh perspective to town council. Thank you.
Thank you. We are through the introductions, so now it's your guys' turn. We have a mic stand up here that you can come up and ask questions, or if you prefer to stay sitting, you can raise your hand and I will come over to you and bring the mic to you and you can ask questions that way. Don't be shy. All right, I'll ask a question to get the ball rolling, so you guys will forego the tickets maybe, just since it's not a public question. So what are the biggest problems that people are talking to you about on the campaign trail? Well, let's start with Whitney from the left.
I think the biggest problem that people are talking through the campaign is the housing crisis. We have a shortage of housing in the community, but the council worked really hard to support the lands to increase the number of housing in the community. And we also support the community development challenge with the Indigenous organization who's building housing in the community. So we put a lot of effort to overcome this challenge in the community. Thank you.
Richard?
Some of the people have been mentioning that we need to have our roads and everything fixed, and we need to have our rec center up and running so that we have something for people to do. Personally, I think a good rec center and a good recreation program in town keeps people busy and keeps them doing things so they don't have to, they have time, things to fill their time with. Having nothing to do leads to no good, so I think we need to get some of our stuff up and running again. Thanks.
One of the biggest concerns I heard over time was our swimming pool and the amount of money we're spending at the swimming pool and not being able to use it. If I were elected again, I would have to agree that swimming pool is a big expense, and really, we need to keep our children busy and occupied. I would probably change up the swimming pool to a gymnasium or something so we can utilize the facility and keep our people busy.
what I've been hearing on the trail really is, there's a lot of concern about an ongoing drug problem. But I really do think it's important, really important to qualify jurisdiction and the limits a municipality has when speaking of issues like this. Aside from creating a legal and regulatory framework where support and social services can thrive, the municipality really as an entity can only play a minor role except creating the environment so that we can take on these things. I agree with a number of people here. This building, the Midnight Sun Complex and Family Center is in pretty rough shape. That being said, we did have engineers come in and look at it just this past year, and it's still usable for a while yet. But certainly one of the priorities I think that we need to have this term of council is to begin phase one of what inevitably will be a 10-year plus plan to plan, fund, and eventually build a replacement rec complex. Thank you.
I probably will just reiterate what has been said already. I mean, the pool being closed for a period of time is a major concern for most of our residents. I don't think they feel like it's been dealt with effectively. And I mean, the complex is much more than just a recreation complex for us. It's more important than that. When we are competing with thousands of towns across Canada for doctors and nurses and other professionals, we have something that most towns don't, and we have to keep this. It's important to both residents, it's important for new residents. And I mean, we have to be financially responsible, of course, and hopefully we are. And hopefully we can get some answers out there to the community once this new election is there. And I'm getting kicked off. Thanks.
I think the things I heard the most are the need to grow and diversify the economy, that we address the social issues, and of course, we have to stay within the mandate of the town. So really that means working in partnership, particularly with the GNWT, the Gwich'in and the Inuvik, the Inuvik Native Band and the Métis. But also I'm hearing a lot of we need more daycare spaces. We have quite a young population, a lot of parents working, a lot of parents needing daycare, and our current daycare is basically just at the seam. So how do we grow more? How do we keep Inuvik as vibrant as it's always been? Thank you.
Here.
So on the campaign trail, there's been a number of issues raised by the residents of Inuvik. Certainly, as people have mentioned, the infrastructure, this complex, the pool, keeping that open for our youth, the roads, all of that's important. And I think there's something we can do about that. Diversifying the economy, we need to have more economic development in Inuvik. We can't just rely on government programs. Housing, hopefully we get a good boost with the Inuvik Outlet and Gwich'in housing, but I think we're gonna need more than that. And so if we can get more lots prepared for housing, that would be great. But I think we also need to work together. This community is fairly divided sometimes, and we need to pull together, work together. It's a great community. We're probably the largest community in Canada that has community feasts. But we need to also work together in other areas. Healthcare is also important, and we don't want to lose our hospital. We don't want to lose the operating room, and we need expansion of long-term care. So that will be something we're not responsible for, but we'll advocate for it. Thank you.
I agree. Healthcare is a big issue, in particular, the lack of dental services here in town. Again, the town of Inuvik's not responsible, but we're certainly been lobbying hard for a dental service here, a proper one. Councilor Merrill mentioned the daycare facilities. Yes, the one we have is stressed to the limit, so we definitely have to encourage more organizations in that respect. One thing that I've heard is downtown development. And of course, my response to that is we have a hotel going in, we have an office tower going in, we have a residential apartment building going in shortly. And we'll carry on from there. I want to see the strip mall that's been vacant for the last 5 years gone. And some new development happening in that area, and I'm getting a warning sign. Pool is not last on my list, but definitely not least, we've got to open that up shortly. They're filling it with water now.
Jen?
What I've heard when I've gone to speak to many of you is specifically around mental health and youth. Youth is our next generation, and there's a real concern that there aren't adequate programs and activities that are available to them. Yes, an element of this is the pool, and thinking about new and innovative solutions to try and solve the solution of the pool, to either keep it open long-term or to think of something different. It's also important to remember with youth that it's much more than just athletics when we think of recreation. And providing youth with the opportunity to provide anonymous recommendations on what they would like to see within our town, to make sure that their voice is heard, as well as the seat that's associated with town council and youth is filled, and that those voices feel welcome in our community. It's important to think, similar to others, that our infrastructure needs to be improved as well. That can be something as little as improving the skate park, providing new equipment to the drop zone, and to help to support our youth center and the programming that's there. Thank you.
Emmer?
Yes, hi again. Yeah, the most things I did hear from the friends and the people I know down the street, I sit with them and I talk to them. They are really sad because once they spend the night in the shelter and they come out in the morning, they kick them out in the morning, there is no place to go. And with collaboration, all the level of the governments, I believe we need something to be there for them daytime, to spend the time, to play cards, to talk, to chat, to drink coffee until they go back to school. Because whatever the reason they're sick and they're on the road, that's some other things. We don't judge that, but we judge how to really care about them. Thank you very much.
Marty?
I've been hearing a lot of the same as the mayor. It's the drug problem. Plain and simple. The town is drowning in drugs. And we have to somehow start with the youth. There wouldn't be as many drug dealers in town if there wasn't so much demand. So I think we have to work together with all forms of government to address this problem and see what we can do working together to get these people straightened out and to, build a more vibrant and healthy community.
Well, what I've been hearing is got a few things going on in Inuvik here. We got a fire smarter community. As you know, Banff burned down, not Jasper burned down, we have a huge community that needs to be fire smarted. It's one of them. Our infrastructure obviously got to be picked up and fixed. And also we got to bring some revenue to the community so we can get our taxes down and make it affordable, livable for people in this area region, attract people to move here, to grow our community, to more housing. We got 71 lots sold this year. We need to fill those houses. We need to make it affordable. So the whole idea would be for me is to push and filling our town office with all the people required to get this done. Taxes, grant money, we have to hire full-time people to chase this money to make our community, well, zero taxes would be nice. It's not affordable, but that's what we want. Anyways, thank you.
Arno?
I agree with Marty and with the drug issues. That's obviously a big issue. And where to start with that? I think we could start with maybe bringing in security at Yellowknife so people can't bring it up in backpacks and small steps like that. I think housing is a very important thing. Also, just tidying up the town, maybe getting rid of some of the dilapidated buildings, making Inuvik vibrant again, encouraging investment, bringing dentists or encouraging dentists to come up. All the different services that this town lacks for the well-being of the community. And that is the most important thing, is the well-being of the residents. I think we can work toward making it a better place. Thanks.
Thank you for those answers. So we have our first question from the audience. We're just going to stick with the going down the line for the time being until we get a surplus of questions. So Give it to you.
Thank you. And thanks, Marty and Arno. You touched on what my concern and question will be regarding our health and well-being of all our community members. And just the influx of the drugs that come into their community. You know, we're witnessing families fall apart, children taken away. And at one point, we had a treatment center in Hay River, but we no longer have one in the NWT. So they're being sent south to seek assistance to overcome their addictions. And I personally watch friends go through their stress and anxiety regarding the drugs in the community. And it's really sad because we have so many promising young people, educated people on the street addicted to either alcohol and drugs. So what, if anything, can you do to move forward to assist our community members in overcoming their addictions? And, you know, that's the largest thing I have on my mind right now. Thank you so much.
And just to switch it up, we're gonna go from right to left this time. So we'll start with Arnold.
And it's a hard mountain to climb. I can't say that I have the answers 100%. I think definitely the community has to work together with all the different groups to create programming, keep people busy, continuous or consistent programming, and just work with the different levels of government and try to stop some of the drugs coming in. But people are taking them, so it's hard to stem that. That's it.
I've been listening and reading all the reports, town council over there, SMP, and they're working hard. They're getting great results, which isn't enough. It isn't enough at all. It's heartbreaking, yes. The results, they take 2 people down, 2 more show up the next day. It's unfortunate. It's just the way it's going. Once upon a time, we had a Delta house here, which is very successful. We need that back. We need a treatment center a local treatment center keeps our people here with their people and keeps them straight. Sending our people south, it's just not working. If they go out, they come back and just back into the same groove. I've been pushing and asking and always bringing it up that we need a treatment center here in Inuvik. Our population is big enough. We have a big enough problem here, and we need to heal our people, young, old, doesn't matter. We need to heal our people, and we need to move forward with this to get this community back to normal. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with Kurt, and I think a treatment center would be awesome. But it would take all forms of government, everybody to pull together. And we have to start with the youth. You know, I'm not saying forget about the older ones, but if we start with the kids and work our way up, you know, I think if everybody, like I say, works together, we can at least stem this somewhat. Thanks.
Hey, again. Hi again. I'm all about community engagement. For the drugs, yes, as my profession in the security business here, I have a hard time. Nighttime, daytimes, with so many different things. There is so many people, we really put them in jail, in the cell, but it's still, it's an ongoing problem. And that's why I said about community engagement. The interagency, they have to be active. The RCMBs are working, everybody is watching, and it's ongoing problem. But the most important things for me now, because I really sit down with these people on the street, whatever the sickness they have, they need a place to talk to somebody. That's why we bring the treatment center in here with the day program. If it's not necessary to be living on it, the day program is good. Thank you.
I think when we think about the drug crisis, we first need to see all residents as having a sense of belonging here. Feeling like they can be included and feeling love around with regards to their community members. What that means is accepting individuals with where they are right now in this moment. It's important to know that we can't do this alone as the town of Inuvik, through council or through the mayor. We need to work on strong partnerships with our land claim organizations and other groups that are already doing wonderful work in these areas. A piece of this is ensuring holistic wellness for individuals who are associated with this. Yes, there's a lot of talk on a treatment facility and a detox, but I urge us to think about the wraparound services that are needed. Detox is just one moment in time for an individual who's struggling with sobriety and recovery. And I really want us to think about holistic aftercare programming, sober living, and other supports that are needed for those individuals so that they go back to feeling loved and supported by all of us.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, we do need a treatment facility. I've actually been lobbying for one for probably the last 15 years. So far, it's fallen on deaf ears, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. As far as the RCMP go, they're limited by, unfortunately, justice and Department of Justice and rules they have to follow. So what we really need is a community effort. Instead of sitting back and watching a drug dealer, start reporting them to the RCMP. There is an anonymous line you can call. A few years back, we tried to instigate citizens on patrol. Unfortunately, we only had one person want to do it. So like I say, it's a community effort. Let's get together. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of burying people from drug dependence. So anyway, I'll end it there because I got the notice.
Peter?
All right, thanks. I think there's a lot we can do. As municipal government, we don't have that specific mandate, but we can still work and collaborate with a lot of people. One of the things I would advocate for is another Inuvik Works program. It was a great program to get people out there doing positive things in the community. It might be tough to find another Roy Apana who did such a great job with that crew, but I'm sure there's one out there. GTC and IRC have done lots in this area. They've done lots of on-the-land camps. There's currently a camp out at the Gwitchin Wellness Camp. Well, there's currently a program at the Gwitchin Wellness Camp, a 30-day program. So hopefully some of these programs with Hope House and other things that we have can work together and move things forward and solve some of our addictions problems. And we need to work with the RCMP and ensure they have the tools that they need moving forward. And then also the GWT has just bought a building for an after treatment program support, and that's important. Thanks.
Alana?
Thank you, Eric. So drugs are a complex health and mental health issue. It's a social issue, and anybody can end up addicted. In Inuvik, it's not just youth. There's a lot of older adults that are struggling with this as well. We need to work together as a team. So since I've been in this community, I've worked with both the Justice Committee and the Interagency Committee to try to come up with programming and ideas and working with other groups so that we can offer alternatives to addictions, find different ways of healing, using on the land programs and whatnot. And what it brings home is the need for a very cooperative effort from all aspects of the community to basically go deep and look at how do we solve these issues in a culturally appropriate way for whatever cultural person may be from, and how do we do this so people have support throughout their life, because addictions don't end just because somebody has gone to treatment.
I don't disagree with anybody who's spoken anyways on addiction. It's a major issue in our community. It's a major issue in our country. And it's a difficult issue to deal with, especially at the municipal level. I think that, or I wish that the RCMP had more tools and were able to do more, but apparently they can't. I don't know, I'm not informed enough to comment on that, but as a community, I think we have to work with the youth. I mean, it's got to start there. We need to educate them, talk to them, inform them, and make sure they know the consequences of the drug use, of trying drugs. Yeah, I think that's where it's gonna have to start. I don't think there's an easy answer to this.
It's cut the red tape. As a council, as others have mentioned, we are a bit handcuffed as what our mandate is and what our jurisdictions are. But what we do control certainly is the regulatory and legal environment in which we can support some of these. So whether it's through zoning and bylaw changes that we can facilitate as a council. Right now, we've got one transition house project that's on hold because of a bylaw, because it's an interesting, unique concept that just isn't covered under an existing bylaw. So certainly looking into some of our own regulations and bylaws and stuff that we can actually tangibly change as a council to facilitate this environment that we hope will help heal some of these ongoing community issues. Thank you.
Drugs are a very big problem with everyone, and it's tearing apart our families, our town, our kids are feeling the effects. And there's no doubt there. But one thing that we can do is change bylaws, like Tony said, where we can implement cameras in the taxis, cameras in large facilities like the Nova apartment, the Sydney apartments, the hotels. That's one way to help.
Yes, drugs is a huge problem in town. It affects a lot of people and a lot of families. I mean, I don't have to look far to see how it has affected my own family. There are treatment programs. There is none available here. So people have to be sent south to go to treatment. Problem comes when they come out of the treatment program and they get back into Inuvik. They have to have something to do, whether it be recreation programs, anything. Even we don't have a coffee shop in town. We have nowhere where people can go and meet and be just out in the public, sitting with people and stuff like that. It all, there's no aftercare. We need AA. We need a few things like that. Thank you, Cynthia. That's about all I have to say now. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Addiction is an ongoing challenge in the community, but in the municipal scope, the town of Inuvik, during our mandate, supported the housing transition implemented by RC, which was presented 2 months ago at the council. And we will continue to support any initiative in regard to mental wellness and addiction. And we are here today with a common goal to build a wealthy and a healthy community. And in the municipal school as well, we could provide support by giving access to a local if they want to facilitate any program or activity or event in regard to wellness and addiction. Thank you.
All right, and we have our next question from the crowd here, so I'll just hand it right back and we'll just answer it back from left to right again. Starting with Whitney.
Great, thank you, Eric. Hi, my name is Yuri Raska. Question for you. I hear lots about lobbying. That's great. I think there's a lot of people who understand what that means, but at the same time, we don't really know what is going on when that lobbying is happening. And I've also heard, many times in the past, we have lots of great projects that come out and people say, hey, I didn't know anything about that. The truth is, there was certainly a post somewhere and there certainly was an attempt at engagement. How would this council, moving forward, work to increase the level of engagement, the knowledge dissemination amongst the Inuvik residents, and increase the participation in decision-making in the lobbying process? Thank you.
And we'll start with Whitney.
I
I think for engaging the consultation with the community, we could start by also invite our residents to attend to the council meetings and be well informed of what's going on at the town of Inuvik level. So I encourage the community to attend those meetings. And with that, I guess the resident will be more informed. And it's also advertised and social media every time we have a meeting and we have to make any decision in regard to any subject matters. And also at the leadership level at the town of Inuvik, the administration could take the initiative to collaborate with the local organization to ensure that they're well informed and they collaborate together on common priority. Thank you.
The town right now has a fairly large social media presence. But there should be other things still looked at, like, used to be, everything the town did was posted in different, bulletin boards around town, stuff like that. I think we have to start using those things, and, again, because not everybody has social media. Most people do, but not everybody does. Inuvik TV has their rolling channel page. We should utilize that. Maybe the town of Inuvik have a page or something. Maybe people have suggestions as to where we could advertise. Make sure that it gets out to the whole audience that we need to.
Maybe in some newsletters and some radio announcements, TV. And just getting out there with a designated person to share what's challenges or what's coming up so we can get more engagement. That's how we do it.
Thanks. Yeah, no, you're right, Yuri. Even town council doesn't know about things before they happen often. We woke up one day to discover that the North Mart wall was suddenly completely changed. Not that it was a bad thing at all, but certainly there was no consultation with any other parties in town. So there has been surprises like that. One thing that candidate Clarkson suggested was this leadership council. And I really do believe that that's something that we need to follow through with. Our last term, we tried something similar called the tripartite council. That didn't go anywhere. It wasn't structured correctly. But I do think, and I do believe in an idea like a leadership council that can share some of these high level ideas with some powers that be and can make some decisions on how to inform the public in a much more efficient manner. Thank you.
I think your tools are there to communicate to people. Everybody's using the web, everybody can go on websites, everybody has Facebook. I just don't think the communication has been there. I think it's a problem with the current council and the town is that we haven't received the information. I go on the town website and I look for it. When there's a new project that's happening in town, that the solar panels that are coming up to power the rec center, there's nothing. I mean, what is the benefit? How is the benefit? What's the payback? All of these questions that residents have, there isn't any answers that are available, and they need to be. Thanks.
Good point, Yuri. Oh my goodness, I bring up way down after Kendall. So I think we need to use multimedia ways of sharing information, because I hate to break it to Kendall, not everybody's on Facebook. Older people aren't necessary, but we've got radio, we've got our TV station. We can also use simple columns on the various different news sites. People are always willing to read about something. I'd love to see a community forum every 6 to 12 months where people have a chance to come together and say what they think is happening or what they would like to see happening. But obviously we need to do a better job of getting word out there about what is going on. So whether that's on the website, whether that's through a news feed, whether it's simply through a newsletter, we need to commit to doing that.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I'm from a family of 9 kids. And communications was always important, if for nothing else, just to get your share of the food. But I think there's a lot we can do to increase communications within the town office itself and meet people where they're at. If it's Facebook, get on Facebook. If it's bulletin boards, get on bulletin boards. If it's sending out direct mail to people, send out direct mail. We've got a very diverse community. We've got elders, we've got youth, we've got people that are very digitally inclined, and we've got people that aren't. So we need to use a variety of ways, but get the word out to people, whether it's good news or bad news or just updates. Get that word out, and people will be a lot happier if they're more informed. And plus, being open and honest and allowing people to express their concerns on that also. Thank you.
I'm actually gonna find myself agreeing with Peter. I probably shouldn't, but I will. Yes, we could do a better job of communication, there's no doubt about that. During the last council, we started streaming our council meetings. So anybody who's on YouTube can watch what we actually do in council. So I think that's very positive. Should be doing and are to a certain extent postings around town, for example, at the post office and other areas of what is happening, what tenders are out, so on and so forth. We should probably be advertising on New North networks, for elders and so on, especially on the bingo channel. I mean, everybody watches that one. I'd like to see, and I brought it up a number of times, a monthly newsletter, which is printed and not just on Facebook or anywhere else. I'd like to see that go out through a mass mailing every month to keep people updated on what is happening. And yes, we tried tripartite meetings with the different groups in town. Unfortunately, for some reason, it didn't work, but we can keep trying. Anyway, thank you.
Thanks for your question, and thanks for wanting to be an informed resident who wants to be engaged on certain key topics. A lot of individuals up here have already provided some really great answers. Not everyone uses social media and Facebook, and it can be inaccessible depending on who you are. It'd be wonderful to have monthly bulletins put in our PO boxes. And what about online surveys by QR code? Why not ask residents of our community about what they think about certain key topics? Why is it only at this forum? And then 3 years later, we talk again. It'd be wonderful to keep communication going using many different forms. I mentioned in my intro around the idea of developing a youth comment area that can be anonymous. How can we better support our youth and hear from them? It'd be great to set that up electronically. We can have annual town halls so we can meet again. And we can also start to think about diversifying the way that we share information, whether it's print, online, through radio, TV, or through the Inuvik drum.
Hi again, without sugar coated. The communication is there, like available in everywhere, but I believe the council, the mayor and the council, they should quarter a year come out from the chamber and do it at the Inuvik Hall as an information session for the town, what did happen. Quarter a year is fine, this for the residents of town. Thank you.
I don't do Facebook, so that one is out for me. My Facebook is, excuse me, the post office bulletin board mostly. For my wife, for my kids. So, yeah, some form of print to get this information out would be great. Thank you.
Currently, right now, with town meetings, we're on YouTube. Any kind of contracts, anything going to drum as ads. Yeah, we could be on New North, we could have New North to be on the TV. Social media, I know Facebook's a big thing, so we could add that. It's at the post office, and this is a lot of information. It's at the post office, the Northern, the drugstore, the library. I've seen it, I've read them. then some of it's on CBC radio, not all the time, we could improve that. You know, we could also add on the 98.7. I would imagine that would improve a lot of people listen to 98.7. But more importantly, and the most important one, if you're really, really interested in this community of Inuvik, come to our meetings. This is the most people I've seen show up for anything. I've been in town council 15 years. You want to participate in our community, I would be more than happy to see you at the town council meetings, giving us advice where to lead this community. Thank you.
I have to agree with Kendall. I don't think there has been a whole lot of communication from town council, especially about the pool. It was quite frustrating over the last few years. There can be a lot more ways to get out to the public and a little more concerted effort by town council to inform the citizens of what's going on. And one small example I have is, or a big example is our new welcome to Inuvik sign. I don't know if I missed the consulting with the town as to where it is. I know there was some consulting with citizens as to how it should look and about the design, but where it is in the industrial park there, when you enter Inuvik, I don't know if that was the greatest decision. And I think these things could be engaged with the town a lot more. Thanks.
All right, and we have our next question from Calkins.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question on behalf of Jillian McNaughton. I think she emailed it and it's not been found. My spouse and I own a home in Inuvik. Our municipal property taxes have risen by 22% in the last 18 months. The town informed me that some households faced an increase of up to 40% due to the 2023 GNWT property assessment. When I spoke to the GNWT about this, typically municipal governments adjust their mill rates during assessment years to prevent such dramatic hikes. According to the 2023 Town of Inuvik interim operating and capital budget, page 4, 2023 presents challenges as a comprehensive assessment by the GNWT assessors has led to the significant property value increases. If the mill rate were unchanged, some residents would see a 25% increase in their taxes. Despite this, residents faced much higher increases, a decision made by the previous council. If you're a former councillor running again, please clarify how this decision was reached and what alternatives were considered. If you're a first-time candidate, please share your stance on how property taxes and how you plan to engage with residents on this issue.
All right, and we will lead off with Arno this.
So that's a hard question. I have to admit that these are some of the things I'm also going to learn if I get onto town council, and I'm unfortunately I can't help with that one at this moment.
And from the current past town council, 22% is a huge increase. This is why I was saying earlier that we have to find ways to lower our taxes, and we have to create revenue for the community. I'm big on creating revenue and chasing after government and grant money. I'd like to hire a full-time person to chase after the government, the federal and the GNWT, and any kind of grant money available for our communities for every program. Our taxes are way out of line, like I stated earlier. We have to work hard to create revenue for this community so we can lower them down to attract people that want to live here. Thank you.
Like Arno, I am not speed on this, and it's something I'd have to learn and study before I can give you an informative answer.
So I've been following the increase of the taxes because I'm homeowner too. The town need revenue because the expenses with the income is not much. The town is in deficit definitely. That's my opinion, I believe, because the same like the question she asked, my taxes is increased 4%, and before that, I even I didn't know about it. To work toward that, we have to find more revenue for the town and to level the income, because the budget of the town is increased too, because we need to fix the road, we need to do different other things in the infrastructure. And it's very hard to answer now. All right, thank you.
I'll answer the question as an individual who's not currently on town council or previously. I think it's important to think about multiple revenue streams when we think about how to reprofile expenses for the town. Yes, the taxes have gone up, but we can seek federal funding in other areas to offset some of the operating costs of our town. When we think about the robust climate change funding that's available that can help with our infrastructure and infrastructure repairs, as well as the large sums of funding associated with accessibility transitions, which can be used through the implementation of the federal or the Canadian Accessibility Act that was passed in 2018, we can use these funds to help to move forward with much of the funding that we need for our lights, for our sidewalks, for maintaining our buildings, including our pool. It's about thinking about how we're acquiring funding differently, using a different model, and making sure that we're applying those funds to keep our taxes down for residents.
Okay, first of all, the town of Inuvik has nothing to do with the assessment of your property. That's done by the GWT. Secondly, if you disagree with this assessment, we have every year a board of revision, which hears property tax appeals. I think we had maybe 5 people this past year actually appeal their taxes. Now, the town of Inuvik only raised your taxes by 1%. Which I think is pretty fair. It takes money to run the town. It takes a lot of money to run this town. Yes, we get some funding through the territorial government, but people ask for road repairs, it costs money. The pool costs money. Presently, to reduce expenses, we got a federal grant to put in a solar farm to power this very complex. $5.5 million, which should help us immeasurably on the next tax review. So anyway, make sure you appeal if you have an issue.
Yeah, sorry, not being on council, I don't have the background on why that would be. Certainly, if the average tax increase was 1%, I think that's more than reasonable. I think the level of inflation would be reasonable, but if someone's got an increase of 18% or 30% or 40%, I think the town has to do some due diligence there and identify that and meet with those people. If you're paying $6,000 or $8,000 where before you paid $3,000, there's something wrong. And yeah, you can go and appeal that, but also I think the town should play a role in communicating and sitting down with those people and saying, this is what happened, this is why, because that's a lot of money. And if we're concerned about the cost of living, then we need to do something about that. Thanks.
So I think this is an illustration of what is the town mandate and what is the government of Northwest Territories. Clarence is right. The last increase was 1%. The council before that was only a couple of percent. We worked very hard to keep our taxes low, which doesn't mean that your assessment from the government of Northwest Territories necessarily matches that, because that basically is showing the value of your property. Jan's right, there's some great ideas of how we can go get more revenue. We need to attract more business. We need to have a broader tax base. So it's not simply falling on those that own property in the town. Thank you.
Being a neighbor of Jillian, we experienced a similar tax increase. By listening to current councillors, it's not the town, it's the assessment. which was every 3 years or whatever it is, and I don't know how the assessments can be that rigorous. I don't think the properties have increased that much in town, so, yeah, we feel like we think it's an issue. But I try not to apply more taxes because they pay for what we have right now. I think it's more important is what we do with our taxes and to be efficient and to be responsible with the revenue that we get. If we can lower our taxes, I mean, everybody's gonna be happy. It's also on the agenda of all governments. But being responsible with the money, whether it be funding or from different governments or organizations or tax base, it doesn't matter. Let's do the most with the money that we have. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I sit on the Board of Revision for the town, for town council, as a councillor on the Board of Revision. This year, we did have 4 or 5 citizens, taxpayers come with complaints, which we reviewed with the assessor out of the GNWT. In all cases, there was justification coming from the assessment office that made sense to everyone around the table. That being said, we did bring it up with the assessor that if we are going to be doing these assessments every 5 or 10 years, can't remember exactly what the breakdown is, that we need to be advertising this out so that we are warning some of our residents that there could be a rather big jump on the 10-year assessments as well. So we did bring that up with because of some of these issues. But as far as town council goes, we spoke about raising from 1% to 4%, and we were very, very happy to be able to keep that 1%. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And really for the tax thing, we all feel it at the end of the day. And we all have to be accountable for the way the money is spent. And with smarter spending might equal lower taxes. So that's how I would maintain what we have with smarter spending.
Kind of with Ned, you have to have smarter spending, but at the same time, I think I agree with Councillor Wayman that there should be people looking to get all the federal government money that we can and use it to help with our programming and with our stuff. And maybe if we find enough of it, the taxes won't have to go up. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with exactly how the mill rate works and stuff like that. But I know that there's budgets and to make things work, they have to have money coming in. So we don't have enough money from what we're getting, then we have to find other money. And federal government, your territorial governments, hopefully we can get them to come up with some for us.
For sure, over the year, we all went through inflation, and the funding allocated to the town of Inuvik, it's really a critical issue. Over the year, the population has increased, and more funds are required to manage municipal affairs, provide community services to family and residents. In the meantime, the town of Inuvik has to continue to seek sources of revenue to maintain these operational affairs. Also continue offering, community services and covering unexpected expense or activities. So we must maybe collaborate with the federal and territorial government to raise those issues, lack of funding, to meet the community need. And this program maybe in the long term will be able to lower the property taxes for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question over here. Good. And then after that, we're gonna take a 10-minute intermission so people can stretch their legs and tea, coffee and all that.
Good evening. My name is Philip Taylor. Question to the council, if they are in charge of the highway with signs. I notice a lot of tourists. I'm here for 4 years now. A lot of tourists coming in. The sign is so far apart on the highway. So I would like to know if they are in charge of the signs and put proper signs, bigger signs, because motorcycle riding, bicycle riding. So, and it's a long distance to come inside of town. So when you check it from like, say, McPherson to Sigurdschick, only one side. And if you don't know the road, like kilometers or like that, you have no idea. So that's my question.
This is a good question, and during my term, I work with the community, the Economic Development Committee with the Director of Tourism and Economic Development. And this was part of her strategy to work on putting more signalization and the road to really make the tourism know that they're coming to the town of Inuvik. So this is an ongoing thing that the town is working on it. Thank you.
Sorry, the highway coming in here is underneath the GNWT Department of Highways and Infrastructure. There's more than one sign between Inuvik and Arctic Red saying how many kilometers there is. There's a 75-kilometer sign. There's another, I can't remember exactly how many there are, but there are also kilometer markers every 2 kilometers. Now, in saying that, they're overgrown and need to be cleaned out around so you can see them. But even coming right into town along the road between Airport Road and Inuvik here, it's the Department of Highways that has the jurisdiction over what signs go up there. Thanks.
I agree, more signs are needed and really maybe some lighting to help see those signs. Thanks.
Signs everywhere, signs. As candidate Campbell's alluded to, the signs certainly on the highway aren't a municipal responsibility. We can certainly work with our partners on the other government levels if we can encourage them to perhaps put some extra signage up to let folks know where they're going. But as far as the highway goes and beyond, that's not our town jurisdiction. Thank you.
I think it's been cleared up that it's not our jurisdiction. If the town residents really feel like this is an issue and bring it forward, we would have to work with other organizations to the GNWT privilege to do something about it. But I mean, there's other avenues to get to them directly. But I believe we would have to focus, or we should focus on our local mandates before we start looking at the GNWT mandates. Thanks.
I like this question because it brings home the fact that advertising a community can be very simple. And if you don't know how far you are to go, you might not want to come all the way here. So yes, it belongs to the Department of Highways, which is in construction now, but there's also the reality that we can get more signs out there, especially around the Dawson City end. I don't know if people are aware that the Northwest Territories Visitor Center there has closed down, so we won't have that as a point of contact for people. But a sign at the junction, a sign at the highway, a sign around Tombstone, even we're paying for it, saying basically this far to Inuvik and here's Inuvik. Our visitor's guide, which we distribute all over the Yukon and NWT, has a fantastic map in it. And when you get to town, we probably need more signs so you know where you are, where you're getting around town. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and as people have said, you too, we need to contact the Department of Infrastructure and see if they can do a better job on their signs. But within the municipality, we can also, I think, upgrade our signs and update our signs. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we have a sign that says motorbikes shouldn't be allowed on Main Street. And we get 400 to 500 tourists each year driving motorbikes, so there's some things that we can do ourselves just to make the town have better signage and more up-to-date signs. So I think it's a good question, and maybe we can review that with some of the staff. Thank you.
I'm not gonna repeat what everybody's already said, as far as contacting highways, that's certainly something we can do. On your behalf, you shouldn't have to be left alone in that regard. In town, yeah, maybe we could, improve the signage we have. Maybe we could add some signs about Inuvik on the Dempster Highway. And, different things like that. So any ideas you have, I'd be more than happy to, express them to the territorial government. And do a lot on our own.
Thanks for your question and thanks for your concern, if I understand it correctly, with regards to public safety. If you don't know how far you are away from a town, you may not know how far away the gas stations are or other things that you may need. Similar to the other individuals sitting up here, it would be with working with GNWT to make sure that that signage is put up because it's technically outside of the jurisdiction of the town. But what is within our jurisdiction is to advocate for the concerns that we hear from our community members and to advocate and ensure that those connections are made on your behalf. It's not up to you to do the heavy lifting. It's up to you to trust us, tell us what your concern is, and that we take it seriously. So that's how I would approach resolving that concern. Thank you.
I'm not going to repeat for the sign, but my concern is the lighting of the town during the winter. And that's a concern. I will bring it forward because all the streets have to be in the winter, the light for the safety of everybody. Thank you.
Signage, it would be a great first project, for the Inuvik Works, group once we get them together. Thank you.
Just like everyone else said, it's a GNWT infrastructure issue on the highway. We could email them and, a tourism thing, you're right, if we don't have the proper signs, how do you know where you're going? But yeah, it's a GNWT thing and the town council could, deal with that once selected. Thank you.
I just repeat what almost everybody said, that it's a GNWT thing, and I agree that we could probably lobby the GNWT and get the voice out there that increased signage would be a good thing. But that's it.
Alrighty, thank you, gentlemen, and so we are gonna have a 5-minute break, so people can go have a stretch and whatever else they need to do. We'll be reconvening whatever time.